even Epstein, the whole Epstein controversy is this attempt to churn over. It is an indictment of the entire elite class. It is a broad, full spectrum assault on the status quo and the people in charge. And regardless of what's true or false about the actual specific accusations, what the Epstein controversy represents in our zeitgeist is a complete and utter disdain of our elites and an implicit and now explicit accusation of criminality of all of the elites, right? Epstein isn't a Republican versus Democrat, liberal versus conservative thing. It is like the Luigi Mangione thing, a bottom versus the top thing. Mm-hmm. And we're seeing more and more bottom versus the top things than we've seen in our political life, because it is an attempt for the base of our lives and the younger people coming up wanting a fucking future. It's an attempt to try to overturn this 40, 50, and some could say even post-World War II, 75-year plus system that is no longer working. But the people that are products of that are still in power, and they're still trying to force the status quo, even though everybody on some level understands the status quo, regardless of what your solution is, the status quo as it exists is not tenable anymore. It is dead. It is zombie-like. It is, it is the undead system that we need a new one, but it still staggers on and dominates us. So yeah, I just think there's an interesting element there.
I think, but here's the thing, and this is my opinion about the sociological sort of like maneuver that's been pulled, is that with phones, with engagement, with stuff that people put out, like it always reminds me, one thing that you gotta fucking love about corporations is, what they love selling? Anti-corporate stuff.
Yeah.
Like they love they're like, oh, you want a Guy Fawkes mask? Cool. We got like this sweatshop in Brazil that's gonna pump them out. Cool. Oh, you hate us? Here's a bunch of decals put on your car. Cool. Yeah. We don't care. Like, and when I think about that, I think about the way where, people are pushing back, but I think they have the illusion of it. I think for most people, not like stuff that you're doing, but I mean, for the average person that even believes that they are like resisting or they're shouting their opinion, I don't think they're that smart, but I think it's almost been created in this way, where we've created an arena where you can do all that is ultimately ineffective.
That is safe.
That is you can shout all you want on the social media apps. You can fuck us, totally, that's cool. As long you'll keep it there, and you'll just, I mean, it's gonna sound kind of just like callous, but it's just like, here, just sit there and complain about it over and over again. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of when I babysit my nephew, and we'd play a video game, and he wanted to play too, but he fucking get his ass kicked because he sucks. You plug in the controller halfway and you put it on computer player. So he was just with the remote, the control, and he's pushing it around and he thinks he's playing. I think a lot of what has been offered to us, or what people think is a form of actually shouting their voice and like we need calling for change, is just that.
I think that's true, but I would say
no buts, Brett.
The impotence of the attempted expression, right? There's just widespread anger and a deep desire for change and hatred of the establishment. And you're right, the establishment has these co-optive mechanisms and these relief valve processes that can kind of give people the illusion that what they say or think fucking matters. It doesn't. Keep railing and raging and getting upset. It's not actually going to impact anything, even though the expression is ultimately impotent, at least currently impotent. And it seems even difficult to imagine how it would not be impotent. The amount of unity that would be required for the American people to come together and have a wholesale, overturning of the system seems impossible in our hyper individualistic echoed or siloed echo chambers, right? It's like even if there is widespread desire for change, like to get a bunch of Americans together, like at the scale needed to have a singular vision and a singular focus to overturn it, that seems impossible. But my main point is that the impotence of the expression it's currently impotent, but the expression is expressing something real. There is still a real desire and fucking hatred of the system, and even though currently it's not able to express itself in a materially meaningful way, there's only so long that you can keep that social mania at bay, right? Something's gonna give.
But here's the thing, and this is like, I don't know, being cynical just for discussion's sake, but it's partly, I believe, some of this too, is that I think like a lot of things in life, it comes back to the McDonald's salad thing.
Fuck.
Where I think like people, because one thing I definitely respect about a lot of your following and stuff like that is that people are doing things and it requires real sacrifice. And everybody believes that we need to do these things to stop the elite, to stop corporate, to stop all this corruption. But a lot of times will take sacrifice. And we want others to do it. We want others to eat the salad. True. Because I got a family to raise. I can't be saying this at work. Yeah. I can't sit out or I can't do this. I don't have time to spend going to this protest or rally or signing the thing or looking up or reading this stuff. People should be doing it. They need to do it, but not me though, because I got stuff to do.
Absolutely.
And I think that is what happens. That it's not that people don't care, but it's this balance. Again, a lot of life is just you have to make decisions, and on this, it's so hard. On this wide scale thing, for everybody, for a community to have empathy, or not empathy, rather, to have dedication, commitment over those right in your life. I think one thing that actually does help as far as younger people doing shit is having less kids and getting married at an older age. I think that actually helps because you have more freedom and ability to do things to combat it. But at the end of the day...
That's an interesting back and forth because on the other hand, having kids and stuff deeply invests you in the long-term future, right? So being young and childless and not having a marriage gives you more free space to take more radical action, perhaps, right? Having a child and having children makes you even more deeply emotionally invested, not just in the next 10, 20, 30 years, but in the next 100, right? So, I think there's benefits to not having kids and being able to take more radical action with less consequences for the people you're responsible for. On the other end, I think having an investment in the future in the form of family and children and grandchildren gives you a deep moral compulsion to make, if you're not a psychopath, which a lot of the elite are, but for regular people, gives you a deep moral compulsion to want to build a better world for your kids. I want my kids to be able to not live in a fucking shithole. So I think there's a back and forth there.
Well, and I was, honestly,
pros and cons.
I wasn't even saying that's desirable. Or I think that's why a trend like that is happening. Right, I'm not even saying that's the optimal way, but it's always that give or take where it's just yes, I mean, I get the sentiment you're saying of absolutely. I don't want my kids to grow up this way. I don't want my kids to go through the student loan nightmare if they want to be educated. I don't want any of this shit to happen. But as for what I'm actually going to do about it, once again, I think about this a lot. I know I don't delve into the politics things. I just think it's interesting from a psychological level about the idea of what you're willing to do when it comes at a cost to you. And this is on even granular things, like the idea of not shopping at Walmart or Amazon. You could imagine you don't want to do that because of the way it fucks over working class people. But who shop there the most? Working class people, because they need to. And it causes all these problems about what are the real sacrifices we're willing to make, and again it goes back to and not participating in the system. Another funny thing that goes back to the McDonald's salad problem, which would be the title of this episode. Another problem is we have seen that the value of a degree has been drastically going down as the fucking price of it goes drastically up. We all know this. And they've done these massive amount of surveys and stuff where it's just what do you think? This is one of the funniest ones, is what do you think about the trades? What do you think about the future? What about people getting into them, people at a certain age and stuff like that? What do you think about it? It's you could even come with America jobs need to be here. Or you could look at it as just what this offers stability, these fucking degrees, it's barely not an illegal grift, but it's not offering any value. Absolutely, this is what people should be doing. And then they did. You may know where this is going. Yeah. They then asked them,
McDonald's salad.
Do you want your kids to go into the trades, or do you want them to get a degree? And it literally flipped from 80-20 to 20-80. They're once again, well, no, other people's kids can do the poor people stuff, but my kid needs to get a degree. Once again,
the irony is though it's not the poor people stuff.
No, I know that's what's hilarious.
The blue collar trade work is one of the only remaining paths for working people to have a decent fucking shot at life, and trying to go 100K in debt to get a degree that doesn't guarantee anything except debt is actually a path to struggle and in many cases poverty. And I know both sides of that fucking equation.
Right, which is so funny because a lot of our friends, you remember when we got out of high school, and they immediately when they're in their mid-20s were fucking killing it now because they went into that and the money and the stuff they saved.
Oh my god, the only friends I have that own their own homes are in the trade.
Right. And but when I said the poor people thing facetiously, I meant that is the way we socially see it. That is the way you could keep the degree factory and the scam going, is because of that. Because there's a difference. Money is not just status, or status is not just money. There's a difference between being a guy who owns a plumbing company and being a college philosophy professor.
Oh, absolutely.
One makes way more than the other, but what does society say is better and stuff? And so, but again, the McDonald's salad problem, where people they go, yeah, it is bullshit scam. It will only change if people start drastically not going. Not me though, but if other people start drastically not going.
So here are some solutions, because we're a solution-oriented podcast.
I'm going to write this down and send it.
You said, people have different levels of their acceptability of self-sacrifice and risk-taking. That's always true.
And for others, their kids
and for others,
family.
And for others, yeah. And that's always true. And that is the quintessentially important and essential role of a robust political party. Not the Democratic Party. I'm talking more Vanguard Party for those that are up on Marxist parlance. But an organized party that has structural force that can push the envelope forward as a collective unit, so that individuals can plug into that party at different levels of investment, right? I can throw my whole self into the party. I don't have kids. I have lots of free time. I want to be organizing in this party 24/7. I want to go on door knocking campaigns and try to get these guys elected or whatever. I want to organize this thing in this community. And then there are people like, I have kids and a job. I'm just trying to get by. I'll pay dues to this party. I'll vote for this party. I'll wave this. I'll put this party's flag on my bumper sticker. I'll try to convince my family and friends to support this party. That's why you need political parties. If you don't have that organizational form of a party, you lack the collective capacity to move forward, and then it turns into, what are you individually willing to do? Well, I'm screaming and I'm going to these protests and these people agree with me and I'm liking this stuff on Facebook and YouTube, or on Instagram, but nothing feels like it's fucking changing, and what can I do? And then some small segment of people just lash out, do an individual act of terrorism, end up in prison for their whole lives. Yep. It's like, well, that didn't really change anything, and you just threw your life away. But clearly, like Luigi, right?
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
We all like what he did. Like, we support it, we understand it, we hate this fucking disgusting system. Very, very, very few of us would even get anywhere close to actually doing that, because that would be self-sacrificial, right? But we want to support it. So everybody comes out and be like, hey, I'm not going to go fucking commit any crime and throw my life away like that. But I see myself in him to some extent. We should fucking, pile our support on him. If we had a political party, we wouldn't have to have desperate individuals lashing out. We could actually fight in a principled way at different scales of society. So the political party is the ultimate solution to that. And then the other part of that is, people don't want to risk. They don't want to self-sacrifice. That's totally reasonable. Like, I have fucking kids. I am not going to jail, okay? I'm not going to do anything that is going to get my ass put into prison because I have fucking children that I need to fucking be responsible for and provide for. And that ultimately is more important to me than throwing my life away on some risky venture, and even going to like heated protests now. I did that all through my 20s. It is the cost-benefit analysis of me going to like a really superheated protest, getting pepper sprayed and arrested, having some reactionary come and shoot up the place, whatever the fuck. The costs are way higher from the benefits of, nothing will absolutely change. And so it's like, okay, I'm not going out there because I have to fucking feed my kids and put my kids to bed at night, blah, blah, blah. So I get that. I'm not judging that. But what's going to happen is that this system, and this is actually where I think change is going to come from, unfortunately, the system is going to fall apart. And when the system hits the brick wall, economic crisis, World War III, some combination of horrific events that have happened all throughout history, people will lose their comfort. People will lose what little stability they had. Oh, I had a job. I didn't want to lose it. Well, it's gone now because we're in the Great Depression 2.0. Or we have this automation wave now. You don't have a job anymore.
Oh, yeah, baby.
And then so now people are like, now I literally have nothing to lose. It's been robbed from me.
Which is terrifying, but true.
The percentage of Americans where that is true of is steadily climbing up, right? Maybe 20 years ago it was 5% of Americans, and then the whole system could metabolize 5% being fucked, right?
Yeah.
And then it's creeped up to 7, and to 10, and to 15, and to 20. Let's say automation comes. Now we have 30, 40% unemployment rate. It's coming. Okay, well then the system itself creates the conditions where people the choice of whether or not to make a sacrifice has been made for them. The system has robbed them of being invested in anything at all, right? Stability, a paycheck, healthcare, a job, a fucking livable future. When enough people have that ripped from them, then they have nothing to lose, and then that's when revolutions historically have happened. But as we're on the decline, and everybody sees things getting worse, but enough people, enough of the time, have enough connections to the stability of society as it is. I do have a job. I have a place where I pay rent. You know, I maybe have health care, even though it's not fucking ideal. I don't, but, you know, somebody does. They're not willing to risk that. But once that's taken from them,
I mean, this goes down to a base of human nature, or at least a philosophy on it. I don't know if you agree with it. I don't know if I fully agree with it, but I'm usually of the idea that people only change when they have to. And now, with the definition, what's always interesting, the definition of have to is different for a lot of other people. Like you could, the thing I know, you could apply that to addiction. The idea of have to is different for other people. But when they actually, so the better thing was that people only change when they feel that they have to, and that is, you know, doing stuff like that. Like people, of course, what do you hear all the time? Change is hard. People hate change. That's usually the thing people hate the most. And the idea, I think, what you're getting at is that change is uncomfortable, but it only happens when staying the same is even more uncomfortable.
Exactly.
And that is, honestly, we're talking about it in this sort of like intellectualized sense, and I know you're very aware of this too. What you put forth is fucking terrifying. You know, one thing that I kind of resent is this weird. And it's nobody's fault, especially if you consume this stuff and like this stuff. But this weird sort of like, to put it, I don't know, more gracefully, this weird boner we have for apocalypse stuff, for post-dystopian stuff. And people always imagine, you know, it's like a Walking Dead type guy with the gun and we're roving around. Like, I can't remember. There was some movie that was like, it was an older movie, but a person said they really, really liked it because it showed what it would really look like. And it's not people with fucking metal Jason masks shooting each other in the street in The Purge. It's people dying of illness. It's people starving to death. It's these whole rooms of people that one sickness has wiped out this entire group of people sitting there. Like it is like he said it was like
it's
it was
Gaza
graphic.
right now. Look what's happening in Gaza right now. That's an apocalypse for the Palestinian people.
Right, and that is what this stuff looks like. Where it's not people marching in the street. It's a bunch of there is some, but it's that type of stuff is what unemployment does to people. Like that. I mean. I think it was from a movie, but it may be accurate. But it was just like for like every 1% unemployment goes up, like 40,000 people are fatally affected. Like, and
doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, and I mean, and so it fatally affected. By the way, it is what led to their cause of death. That's pretty hard to quantify, but it's something you just know you could agree with.
Think about it. 1% of Americans is millions of Americans.
Oh yeah,
3 to 5 million Americans.
Right, and so it's a terrifying proposal in that sense because, I mean, again, not to always do this because this is my thing, but I think it's a kind of an apt way to look at it. You know how bad things get with addiction before somebody changes, before somebody's like, I have to stop this. Even when it kind of like the system itself, even when I know it's bad for me, but it's more comfortable to stand in this familiar misery.
Exactly.
What has to happen? Do I have to be roaming the streets of Omaha stealing Mucinex for fucking a month? Do I have to like go through withdrawals of methadone and alcohol in a psych ward? What has to happen before like, you know what? I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. This is like so much pain and suffering. Now I'm ready to start doing this thing. Oh, I failed at it? Okay, because we might just not nail it on the first try. Oh, we need to start again, you know.
Oh, definitely.
And so it is scary because, like I said, if you got to get a massive group of people to change means a massive amount of pain and suffering.
And think of Americans. Think of how individualistic they are. Just think of the full terrain of ideas.
Oh, my God.
So even in the collapse, it's like it's not like everybody's going to come together and say, yes, we all need health care. We all need to take care of it.
Nope.
There's going to be like insane fascist movements, insane evangelical Christian fucking cults rising.
Don't forget your grifters, just scooping people
Amazing
up.
grifters always until the fucking sun blows up and destroys Earth. There's going to be people finding ways to make money and grow their brand off of anything and everything.
They say prostitution's the oldest profession. I think just straight up grifting people is the oldest profession.
But yeah, so like America, it's never, even in the face of fucking collapse, it's not going to be everybody comes together. It's still going to be fucking horrific. That's what you mean. Like, it might not even work the first time. It's going to be fucking horrific. And, you know, I wish people were proactive, right? Like, it's like Dave at 25 realizing, hey, you know, reasonably to continue down this road of drinking is not going to be healthy for my long-term health. I'm going to stop tomorrow and be proactive about my health long-term. Mm-hmm. That's not how reality works. In reality,
not how Dave works.
You got to fucking keep hitting the wall, hitting the wall, hitting the wall.
I'm just going to drink beer. That's what America's like. We're just going to drink beer from now on.
In America, unlike other cultures, there's no real unifying thing. Like somebody's referred to America as a nation of strangers. That there's like no underlying religious or cultural belief that can hold us together in hard times. Like, you know, in other societies, you might have that to differing degrees. Mm-hmm. Increasingly in Western societies, but definitely in the hyper-individualistic, fuck you, get what I can, American capitalist, Wild West context, there's even less of a shared basis of anything. Well, only thing we all agree on is like the Super Bowl. Like we'll watch the Super Bowl. We don't agree on that.
Fucking stop showing Taylor Swift, goddammit. Like we super don't agree. I fucking hate the halftime show.
I'm saying, like, what culturally brings us all together anymore?
Domino's Pizza.
Buying stuff. Buying stuff. That's about it. So I think like when America hits the fucking brick wall, it's going to be even worse. And like I said, I would love for there to be proactive solutions, and one of the worst things is to be in this society and have the solutions, kind of have the vision for like how to solve these problems at their root and get us on a new path, and to have to be dragged along by a fucking insane society that will absolutely not do that.
No, man. Dude, it's like being a counselor for fucking drug addicts and alcoholics. You're like, dude, this is literally, it worked for me.
Yes.
I was in your stage. Do this. You're like, no, I think I'm still going to stay in that toxic relationship. Thanks for the advice, though. I'll do all the other shit. God damn it. Come back in, like 2 months later, fucking just wiped out on fucking Robitussin and vodka. Like, okay, I swear I'm going to do it this time. And it's like, are you sure? Maybe not.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, man.
That's where the people that's, you know, ignorance is bliss, or like learning all this stuff about politics actually has been worse for my mental health. Mm-hmm. It's because you see the problems very clearly. You see possible solutions, not in this, like, I'm a prophet, I know exactly how to solve. No, there's still plenty of questions, but you see the general thrust of the movement we have to go in if we want to save our fucking futures. And then just like, there's no chance of that happening. Mm-hmm. So it's actually that disconnect between the realization and the reality. I see how things are, and I see what we absolutely need to do to get on the right path. And I see that I live in a society that is violently, aggressively hostile to that, you know? Oh, and so here we go.
You can think about it this way. What you just said, I see the way things are, and I see what we need to do. There are people that feel the same way that are actively against you.
Oh, 100%.
There are people that they're not just there to be malicious or they fucking hate people. They think that same thing, except for what is opposing all that other stuff.
I follow like Nick Fuentes and right-wing hardcore reactionary, anti-Semite, deeply, openly, laughably fascist and racist sort of people. And I was looking at an interview they did, these two fucking white Nazis interviewing each other. One was Nick Fuentes, this other guy's this blonde, blue-eyed fucking looking freak. And they were just talking about like the white race and mass deportations and, you know, why Jews are fucking need to be purged from the fucking country. And then I go into the comment section and there is like genuine solidarity and optimism. Mm-hmm. I read a comment in a Nazi comment section. This whole conversation is about like white Nazism, ethno-supremacy.
Yep.
And they're like, we're on the right side of history, brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
they believe it.
We are the good guys. We know the solutions to our problems, and everybody's like hyping each other up. Like, absolutely, like we are. Like, literally, they use the phrase, "We are on the right side of history." They believe that.
Oh, I know. And
they believe they're the good guys.
By the way, what's really scary about that is that the more pushback they feel, the more it will like
solidify the connections.
It will be maybe less people because of repercussions, but the ones left will be even stronger because they'll be foxhole buddies. And like, you know, it's funny you said that because I actually do that too. I think there's some of the stuff I'm embarrassed that I watch that I delete more than porn, like in my search history, and it is stuff like that. Like who's the Richard Spencer?
Yeah.
You know, I watch stuff like this, and you know what one of the biggest lies of that era was? It's just like, well, he's one of the scary Nazis because he's articulate and he's intelligent, but he uses that for his hate. I watched one of his little speeches. No, he's not.
He's a liberal compared to the real Nazis.
No, I don't mean that. I mean, he was a Nazi, but I mean, he was absolutely crass and inarticulate, and like,
I see.
He lost his cool. That he's like the cool, calm, collected.
Because he's seen by like the real right as like a centrist, compromising, liberal fake version of what they are, right? So I was just talking from inside them, but go ahead.
Yeah, but
he's not articulate. He's not like this really threatening guy that's like winning over the hearts and minds of people.
That's what it blows your mind sometimes when you do check out the sides of the people. You go, man, I didn't even realize I was giving you the benefit of the doubt of thinking like, oh, this guy could be convincing. It's like, man, you really are falling for this shit. Mm-hmm. Like, he was literally up there where people were booing him, and one of his first things he went to was he called someone, he made fat jokes. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, this is your, like, smart guy? Like, all I ever heard about was that people weren't saying he was really smart, but they were saying he's this refined version. He was worse than some of the other people, and I was just like, oh my God, you take these trips down and stuff, because I always find it interesting that if there is something that seems radically opposed to reality, I want to actually hear their argument. Like
100%. I'm fascinated by it.
Fascinated by somebody who can create something clever enough or a way, you know. But usually they don't. Like, one thing I always say is that one thing that sucks about this movie of life right now in America is that the villains are even underwhelming. Like, they're not even that fucking. They're like even like Elon Musk is acting like a fucking spazzed out 7th grader. It's like, this dude with these fucking early aughts memes is like the richest guy in the world.
It is
like,
so stupid.
Oh my! You don't even bring up. Like,
I've said many times, American fascism is going to be the stupidest fucking fascism.
Remember what everybody said? It's like, we don't need to worry about Trump. We need to worry about Trump 2.0. It's like, no, we don't. People will boo him out. He used a word that has 4 syllables. Boo.
Yeah, like,
dude. Fuck no.
It is so fucking dumb and so transparent.
They're
so
not
opportunistic.
Bond villains.
They're all fucking dumb dipshits. They have no fucking sense of history or culture or anything deep. And it's just like, yeah, that is to be imprisoned in this fucking stupid ass right-wing insane fucking society. That if you have anything like intellectual and moral fortitude, it's like you are in an insane asylum. And you're going down with the ship. There's no way out of the ship. So you're on the Titanic, and the fucking guy in charge sees the iceberg and is hitting the accelerator towards it. Right. And there's nowhere for you to go. You're just like trying to convince people on the boat, like, this is fucking crazy. We should stop that guy, right? I don't know if we should stop him. You know, maybe we should vote to see if we should stop him. Maybe I'm going to do something crazy, or this is my idea for how we stop him. This is my idea how we stop him. And then meanwhile, we're just like fucking slamming into the fucking iceberg.
And social media is just writing on the bathroom wall.
Yeah, it is.
Like, you fucking sucks. Take that. Like, you orange head.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it is. I think it's a lot of that stuff. I always find that fascinating, though. Just where you see, because some stuff you can kind of see the paths people take, but a lot of times I'm still amazed by it. You talk about radicalization, you know, of younger people, and that stuff doesn't fascinate me as much as smart people in my life too. So it even has a darker tinge to it, like in my heart, like people in my life that are super on that side. And you're like, man, if you excise this one thing about you, I'm like, greatest dude ever. And it's just like, how, again, the sort of cognitive dissonance of it all that doesn't occur apparently, where how do you have this and you're all on board with this? That like,
well, I said recently on my Instagram, I was like, MAGA, with the Epstein uncovering and the genocide in Gaza, I said MAGA is a child murdering and child sex trafficking cult at this point. Like, the two things that Trump is actively doing right now is covering up the most infamous modern sex trafficking ring that in the world, the Epstein fucking sex trafficking ring.
It's Pizzagate!
And he is helping Israel commit a genocide where you're literally starving and mass murdering babies. And this is from a movement that for the last several years has been screaming things like save the children.
No, the children.
And that call themselves pro-life. And they have now elected Epstein's #1 client and are engaged in a holocaust of babies. And it's like, that is what MAGA really is at this moment. And I'm not letting Democrats off the hook because Biden started this fucking genocide. And, you know, there's Democratic elites like Bill Clinton and the fucking guy from New Mexico, the Democratic governor of New Mexico, who are all over the flight logs as well. And there's these tech centrists like Bill Gates who are all over it's a whole elite thing. So I'm not letting Democrats off the hook, but MAGA's in charge right now, and everything they say they believe, it is in direct opposition to the reality of what's happening. And when you bring that up to them, they just triple down.
Right.
And that is the hallmark of a fucking cult. And it is like these political parties at the end of the American era, as America is nosediving off the fucking cliff, these cult-like things that in previous eras would just be political parties. They've taken on this fucking this stylistic posture of really cult-like behavior.
It's